Now, the pro-vaccine people, they say that with the vaccine, a number of diseases just disappeared from populations. How do you react to that?
Well, I would have to address each vaccine that they claim this to be true for. And I have gone through and looked at the smallpox history. And what we find with smallpox is that first of all, that there was a town in England called Leicester, and that was a town that was highly vaccinated, and they were still having epidemics of smallpox and death from smallpox. That town decided to stop vaccinating. They were warned that they were going to set a bonfire of disaster upon the earth because they stopped vaccinating. But what happened was that their disease rates declined, as did their death rates from smallpox decline. So that is an example that shows you that stopping vaccinating actually can improve the disease in the population. And that I looked at smallpox first because that's the disease that most people say was eradicated by vaccines. But only 5 to 10% of the Earth's population was ever vaccinated for smallpox. And it was done during a time when there was lots of sanitation occurring, which meant that there were fewer rodents and insects around that were able to carry the disease from person to person. It meant that people's immune systems were improved because of better nutrition and child labor laws. So there were lots of things occurring during this period when smallpox disappeared. However, now, back during the time of smallpox, there was chickenpox, monkeypox, goatpox, horsepox. There were all kinds of pox that looked identical, were very difficult to tell apart. We still have monkeypox on the planet. So many of these pox diseases that we all lump together because we didn't have genetic testing, we still have these diseases. If you look at a person, a victim of monkeypox, it looks just like smallpox. So the question is, did we really eradicate smallpox? And I have my doubts about that. Okay, so let's get back to tetanus, because we're often told that once we gave this vaccine, we saw this enormous drop in death and cases, and we're shown this graph here. And it really does look like, the tetanus vaccine came in around here, and look, we have this ski slope coming down. But the problem is, and this is how you'll be shown by the public health authorities, all the vaccines' success. They don't show you the whole graph. Here's what happens when you look at the whole graph. We can see that it was already coming down, and then it came down further. But look at how much more dramatic it was in England and Wales. We can see that the decline in incidence and mortality is here, and the vaccine came in here, and we actually see it come up a little bit after the vaccine came in. And this is the same thing in Canada. We see that the death rate from tetanus, they only started reporting cases here, but we can see the death rate was just precipitously falling. And this is the year the vaccines came in. And again, we see for some strange reason an increase right there, but we can't say that we have tetanus vaccines to thank, because the trend was already seriously coming down.
Is there a danger vaccinating populations as we do today?
Well, that's a complicated question, and I would say that adequate research has not been done. What we would need to do would be to look at a vaccinated population versus a not vaccinated population, and not just for one vaccine. See, the pro-vaccine will say that we have these studies, we've done them, but it's only one vaccine, and they call it a vaccinated, unvaccinated study, when just missing one vaccine would qualify you as unvaccinated by their definition. So we can't do a study where we purposefully take people at birth and vaccinate half of them and don't vaccinate the other half. That would never be agreed upon by authorities. But what we can do is look at populations that are already not vaccinated, that live in the same place and are virtually identical in as many ways as possible as those that are vaccinated. And if you have a large enough group, you can tell the difference between them as far as disease rates go. Now, are they safe? Even the Supreme Court of the United States ruled last year that vaccines are, there's an inherent lack of safety some of the time. And so, because we know that vaccine adverse events occur, we have a system in place to compensate some of the people that this occurs for. But we don't have a system in place to compensate everyone that this occurs for. In fact, it's the vast minority of claims actually ever get compensated for. So just given this little bit of information I've told you, you have to wonder, are vaccines safe?